how long does it take to know if a woman is wife material? Like, for me, I think, like, if I'm dating a girl, I need to be with her for, like, pushing 3 years before I'm like, okay, yeah, she's the one, and, like, I need to, like, go find a ring. Like, I think that's how long it would take for me to be like, it's time to buy a ring. Like, putting aside, like, money issues or anything like that, like, obviously you have to wait till you're comfortable there, but for me, like, if I'm with a girl for a year and everything's going good, I'm not like, dang, I need to, like, think about marriage right now, or, like, she's the one.
See, well, it's a little different with me and you. I grew up in a little bit of a different way. For me, it's pretty simple. If you think you know she's the one, or no, let me rephrase that.
But how long do you think it would take? Minimum. Like, realistically.
Look, realistically for me, I think it takes me maximum a couple weeks to know what's inside someone's heart. To know if she's genuinely a good person, all that, blah, blah, blah. Now there's all this extra little bull surrounding it, like, how's her family? Little things like that. Now that takes a little bit longer. That's some investigating you gotta kind of have to do as with almost your family sometimes, things like that. But when it comes to figuring out exactly one-on-one, conversating with the girl, seeing little tendencies that she have, I think it'll take me, number one, you'll never know a girl 100% till you live with her. Let's get that straight.
For sure.
You'll never know her 100% till you live with her. But to get a good enough gist that, okay, yeah, this was probably, she has a good moral character, maximum takes me a couple weeks. Probably I'll get it sooner, depending on how much time.
But the question is how long it takes to get, like, married. So for me, like, that's a great point. Like, I need to live with the girl first and see how that dynamic works before I'm like...
No. You don't need to live with her first before you get married. Because here's the thing. And again, we're a little bit different backgrounds. You know, I grew up in a different religion than you, and, we're really, really strict on doing anything premarital, especially the big one, premarital sex. Now, any of this, though, you're talking about, living with her, all that, is things that will lead to that. So what we do is we don't do nothing that could ever even lead to that point.
Okay,
so
fine.
Living with someone before getting married, to me, is pretty ridiculous.
Even if you want to put that aside, like, I've met people and, like, I've met girls, and then 2 weeks in, I'm like, wow, like, we have a lot in common. She seems really cool. Like, we have the same religion, all that stuff, and then find out, like, later down the road that she just loves attention, and she's acting how I want her to act, just to, like, pull me. But, like, down the road, she probably would cheat on me.
You can see that, though. There's little things. Now, maybe you can't get the full circle, but if you're really in touch, if you have a good, understanding of how people work, I'm telling you right now, even if they don't open up the book right away and show you who they are, there'll be little tidbits that could be potential red flags that you have to see. You got to be able to sense it beforehand. Like, let me give you an example. Just something little that bothers you, you could probably ignore. Like, let's say you're getting to know a girl, right? And then you see something as in, maybe she sees somebody on the street that doesn't, not properly dressed or something, and she says something to you like, what is she doing, blah, blah, blah. Little thing like that. Maybe in that moment, it doesn't bother you, right? Maybe in that moment you stay, whatever, like, maybe even you laugh at it a little bit. But that small thing is a sign that, like, could be a sign, like, okay, maybe she could be. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying, but I still think it's like, it takes, and for me, it takes a lot longer.
You can understand that girl quickly.
I think it's a lot more complex than that. Like, I feel like you're meeting a girl, like, first date, second date, even the third interaction. I feel like you're not meeting that person. You're meeting their, like, delegate. Like, in that they're showing what like what people want to see. Like, they're showing the good sides only, or they're masking who they really are. You go over to their house the first few times, it's, like, super clean, she's acting like she's super neat. Once y'all are actually dating, she's, like, a complete slob.
And it also, too, with something like that, too, you could take advantage of the community, especially if she's in sometimes that's not the case, but sometimes if she's in the community that you're in, you would take advantage. And I'm not saying you go around and, like, start, like, asking information about her, but, you could, in a respectful way, in a proper way, you could keep your ears open in here. Now, if she's not in your community, this is somebody randomly you meet online, it's a little bit, or, random interaction at the mall or something, that's a little bit different as well. But there's still ways that you could, get the information without you seeing it for yourself, too. Wouldn't you say that as well?
I know what you're saying, but I'm like, we're at a point where we strongly disagree. I think it takes years. You think it takes like under a month.
No, taking years is crazy. You can spend a year of like getting to, and I'm not saying live with each other or anything. I'm saying maybe you get years of spending time to get to know each other like a proper way, you know, getting to know her with, you know, someone else involved that, you know, can make sure no funny business happens. I don't mind that, just really getting to know people. But when we're talking about how this generation talks about now, you need to spend years together and you need to even live with each other for a period, like, there's nothing you're gonna find out in year 2 and year 3 that you didn't find out at the end of year 1. Let's get that straight.
We're not talking about year 1, though. We're talking about 2 weeks.
I'm saying, no, look, I'm not saying, you're misquoting me. I'm not saying within 2 weeks you can find out whether she's the one to get married or not. I think it takes longer than 2 weeks.
The original question is how long it takes to know if a woman is wife material, though.
I'd say a year is probably good.
A year?
Or, nah, I mean, I've seen some successful marriages in my religion where they only knew each other for a couple months.
No, I 100% agree. In my religion, in my background, in my culture, I've seen people get together and then really quickly it all works out. I've seen arranged marriages too with some of my Indian friends where it all works out. But the thing is, we're in 2025. In modern times, you're meeting someone here in America, even if they're culture, they go to your mosque or your church. I still think, like, I've seen so many situations where, like, people are together for, like, 6 months, everything's good, and then their significant other is, like, just a manipulator, or just, like, doesn't take accountability, or it's just messy for whatever reason, or just, like, wants attention from other people, and, like, the way they're acting towards you, they're acting towards others, like, that sort of thing. I've seen 1-year relationships, and then, like, they hate each other at the end of year 2. But if they had got married and, like, mixed their finances and stuff, that would have been messy.
I've seen things like that as well, but I've seen also the polar opposite. There's always going to be bad situations. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah,
which is why you need to make sure you're not in that one by spending time to properly weed them out.
It also depends on the person. It also depends. Sometimes, just based on where you see, you could tell whether or not you're dealing with a high quality person or you're dealing with somebody fresh out of a sorority that just, you know, like.
I want to talk about the part that we disagree on the most.
Okay.
Because I know in the past you've said it takes like a couple weeks and you can notice all these like small little things. Like you can pick up on like basically most of their red flags, if not all of them, really quickly in a small time frame.
A couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you could be 6 months in and then discover like this crazy red flag.
No. And it depends on what kind of red flags you're talking about. Now everybody has. No human being is perfect. Everybody has their, you know, mistakes that they make. Let's for this sins. And if anybody's were to get exposed, we'd all be embarrassed. Everybody has something that they have that they just, you know, and it's not one, it's multiple things. So when you say something like, you know, she has her, you see one big red flag. It depends on what you're talking about. Now, if you're talking about some sort of like private sin that she might does, I don't want to consider that a red flag. If you talk about red flag as in she has a character or personality problem or something like that, like she's a bad person or something like that, you could scope that out within 2 weeks if you're emotionally intelligent and you're just in general self-aware.